Hello, my name is Sonia, and welcome to Total Commitment. Today, I'll summarize the first 24 laws of the book, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. If you enjoy the video and want a summary of the other 24 laws, please like and subscribe. The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene is a non-fiction book that offers a historical and philosophical meditation on the nature of power and how it has been used throughout history. The book is divided into 48 laws, each of which is accompanied by a brief explanation and examples from history and the present day to illustrate the law in action. Overall, the book offers a wide range of advice on how to gain and maintain power in different situations. While some of the advice may be seen as cynical or manipulative, the book encourages readers to be strategic and to always be mindful of the power dynamics at play in any given situation.
Law 1. Never outshine the master.
Law 1 advises readers to avoid drawing too much attention to oneself, as this can lead to jealousy and resentment from those in positions of power. This law suggests that by drawing too much attention to oneself, one may be perceived as a threat to those who hold power, and may be subject to negative consequences such as demotion or exclusion. The law advises that one should instead focus on supporting those in positions of power, and avoid doing anything that would make them feel threatened or insecure. This can be done by highlighting the accomplishments of those in power, and by avoiding taking credit for the successes of others. Additionally, this law suggests that one should always be aware of the power dynamics in any situation, and act in a way that will not disrupt the balance of power. It advises to be humble and to avoid drawing too much attention to oneself, in order to avoid creating animosity or jealousy.
Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends, and learn how to use enemies.
Law 2 advises readers to be cautious about trusting others and to use the hostility of enemies to one's advantage. This law suggests that friends can be unreliable and may not always have one's best interests at heart, while enemies can be useful in providing information and keeping one alert. The law also suggests that by keeping enemies close, one can better anticipate their moves and take necessary precautions to protect oneself. In addition, by understanding the motivations of one's enemies, one can use that knowledge to gain an advantage over them. It is also important to note that friends can become enemies over time and that it's important to be constantly aware of the shifting dynamics of relationships. The law suggests that true friends will be able to handle a little suspicion and will understand that it is a necessary measure to protect oneself.
Law 3. Conceal your intentions.
Law 3 advises readers to keep their true intentions hidden in order to avoid giving others an advantage. This law suggests that by revealing one's true intentions, one can make themselves vulnerable to manipulation and deceit by others. The law advises that one should always be mindful of the information they reveal, and keep their true intentions concealed. This can be done by being vague and ambiguous in one's words and actions, and by using subtle cues and signals to communicate one's true intentions without revealing them outright. Additionally, this law suggests that one should be aware of the intentions of others, and use that knowledge to gain an advantage over them. By understanding the motivations of others, one can anticipate their moves and take necessary precautions to protect oneself.
Law 4. Always say less than necessary.
Law 4 encourages readers to be succinct and avoid giving away too much information. This law suggests that by revealing too much, one can give others an advantage and potentially harm one's own interests. The law advises that by speaking less, one can create an air of mystery and intrigue, which can make others more interested in what one has to say. It also suggests that by keeping one's thoughts and plans to oneself, one can prevent others from using that information against them. Additionally, by being selective with the information one shares, one can signal to others that they are in control of the conversation, and that they are the one with the power. This can make others more willing to listen to what one has to say, and can make one appear more confident and in control.
Law 5. So much depends on reputation, guard it with your life.
Law 5 stresses the importance of protecting one's reputation in order to maintain power and influence. This law suggests that one's reputation is the key to their power, and that it is essential to protect it at all costs. The law advises that one should always act in a way that will enhance their reputation and avoid actions that could damage it. This means avoiding scandal, being consistent in one's actions, and being seen to be a person of integrity. Additionally, this law suggests that one should be aware of how they are perceived by others, and to take steps to control the narrative of their reputation. This can be done by publicizing one's achievements, and by presenting oneself in a positive light to the public.
Law 6. Court attention at all costs.
Law 6 advises readers to seek attention and recognition in order to establish themselves as powerful figures. This law suggests that by gaining attention and recognition, one can establish themselves as a powerful figure, and gain influence over others. The law advises that one should always be on the lookout for opportunities to gain attention and recognition, and to take advantage of those opportunities when they arise. This can be done by actively seeking out publicity, and creating a strong personal brand, and establishing oneself as an expert in a particular field. Additionally, this law suggests that one should be aware of the power of image and use it to their advantage. By presenting oneself in a certain way, one can create an image that will attract attention and recognition.
Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take credit.
Law 7 encourages readers to use others to achieve their goals while still taking credit for the success. This law suggests that by delegating tasks to others, one can free up their own time and energy to focus on more important matters. The law advises that by finding people who are willing to work hard and are capable of completing tasks, one can achieve their goals more efficiently. Additionally, this law advises to always take credit for the successes of those working for you, as this is the way to ensure that others will continue to look up to you and want to work for you. This law doesn't mean to be dishonest or manipulative, but to be able to recognize the work and effort of the team while directing the credit to the leader. This way, the leader can maintain authority and respect while still allowing others to work towards the common goal.
Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary.
Law 8 advises readers to make themselves desirable and use bait to lure others to them. This law suggests that by making oneself desirable and attractive to others, one can draw people towards them and control the interactions they have with others. The law advises that one should create an image of success and power, and make it clear that they are someone who can offer valuable benefits and opportunities to others. Additionally, it suggests that one can use bait such as promises of rewards, or hints of secrets, to entice others to come to them. This law also advises to be aware of what others want and to use that understanding to draw them in. It encourages being strategic in the way one presents oneself, so that others will naturally be drawn towards them.
Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument.
Law 9 advises readers to avoid engaging in verbal arguments and to let their actions speak for themselves. This law suggests that by engaging in verbal arguments, one can become bogged down in details and lose sight of the bigger picture. The law advises that one should instead focus on taking action, and let their actions speak for themselves. This can be done by taking a decisive and assertive approach, and by being willing to take risks in pursuit of one's goals. Additionally, this law suggests that one should be aware of the power of actions over words, and to use it to their advantage. By demonstrating one's abilities and achieving tangible results, one can gain the respect and admiration of others.
Law 10. Infection. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes.
Law 10 advises readers to avoid taking on the role of a powerful figure, and instead create their own path to power. This law suggests that by trying to imitate, or take on the role of someone who has already achieved great power, one can become associated with their failures and negative reputation. The law advises that one should instead create their own unique path to power, rather than trying to imitate others. This can be done by developing one's own unique talents, skills, and style, and by creating one's own reputation, rather than trying to inherit someone else's. It also suggests that one should avoid getting too close to those who have already achieved great power, as they may be viewed as a threat, and you may be subject to the same negative reputation.
Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you.
Law 11 advises readers to make others dependent on them in order to maintain power and control. This law suggests that by making others dependent on you, you can control the dynamics of your relationships with them, and ensure that you are always in a position of power. The law advises that one should always look for ways to make others dependent on them, such as by providing valuable resources or knowledge, or by creating opportunities for others to advance. Additionally, it suggests to be aware of the dependency on others, and using that dependency to your advantage, by manipulating or controlling the relationship. However, it's important to note that creating dependency in a manipulative or deceitful way can lead to negative consequences, such as loss of trust and respect. This law suggests creating dependency in a positive way. By providing valuable help, mentorship, and opportunities for growth, for instance.
Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim.
Law 12 advises readers to use a combination of honesty and generosity to manipulate and control others. This law suggests that by being selectively honest and generous, one can gain the trust and loyalty of others, and use that trust to manipulate and control them. The law advises that one should use honesty and generosity strategically. By revealing just enough information to gain the trust of others, while still keeping the upper hand. Additionally, it suggests using generosity as a tool to buy loyalty and compliance. By offering gifts or favors that will make the other person feel beholden to you. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest being dishonest or insincere, but being strategic in the way one uses honesty and generosity. It's also important to remember that manipulation and control are not ethical practices, and should be avoided in order to maintain healthy relationships.
Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest.
Law 13 advises readers to frame requests for help in a way that appeals to the self-interest of the person they are asking. This law suggests that by appealing to people's self-interest, one can increase the likelihood that they will be willing to help. The law advises that one should be aware of the motivations and desires of the person they are asking for help, and to frame their request in a way that aligns with those motivations. Additionally, it suggests offering something in return for the help given, such as a reward or future favor. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest manipulating or deceiving people into helping, but to present the request in a way that is most likely to be well received, and make the other person see the benefits of helping.
Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy.
Law 14 advises readers to gain the trust of others by pretending to be a friend, while using the information they gather to gain an advantage. This law suggests that by posing as a friend, one can gain access to valuable information and insights that can be used to gain an advantage over others. The law advises that one should be aware of the power of trust, and to use it to your advantage by cultivating friendships and relationships with others. Additionally, it suggests being discreet and subtle when gathering information, and using the information gathered in a strategic way. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest being deceitful or betraying the trust of others, but to be aware of the information you can gather from the people you interact with, and use it in a strategic way, always with ethics and integrity.
Law 15. Crush your enemy totally.
Law 15 advises readers to eliminate all traces of opposition in order to achieve complete victory. This law suggests that by eliminating all traces of opposition, one can ensure that there are no remaining threats to their power and control. The law advises that one should be ruthless in their pursuit of victory, and to take all necessary steps to eliminate any potential rivals or adversaries. Additionally, it suggests to not leave any room for negotiation or compromise, and to make sure that the opposition is completely crushed and unable to regain power. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest acting in a violent, harmful or illegal way, but to be assertive and strategic in the way one deals with opposition, always keeping in mind the ethical and moral principles.
Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor.
Law 16 advises readers to use strategic absence to increase one's power and influence. This law suggests that by selectively disappearing or becoming scarce, one can create a sense of mystery and intrigue around themselves, which can in turn increase respect and honor from others. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest to be distant or unapproachable, but to use absence strategically, with the goal of increasing one's power and influence. Law 16 advises readers to use strategic absence to increase one's power and influence. This means being aware of the power of absence and using it strategically. By disappearing for short periods of time or by creating a sense of exclusivity, and use absence to create a sense of longing and desire for one's presence, with the goal of increasing respect and honor from others.
Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror, and cultivate an air of unpredictability.
Law 17 advises that one should use unpredictability strategically, by changing one's behavior and actions unexpectedly. This can be done by being inconsistent in one's words and actions, or by keeping others guessing about one's true intentions. Additionally, it suggests to use unpredictability to create a sense of fear and uncertainty in others, which can increase one's power and control over them. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest to be cruel or abusive, but to use unpredictability in a strategic way, in order to maintain an upper hand in any situation.
Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous.
Law 18 advises readers to avoid isolating oneself as it can lead to vulnerability and decreased power. This law suggests that by building fortresses around oneself, whether physical or metaphorical, one can become isolated and lose touch with the outside world, making oneself vulnerable to attack or manipulation. The law advises that one should avoid isolating oneself and instead maintain a diverse range of relationships and connections, which can serve as a source of support and protection. Additionally, it suggests to be aware of the dangers of isolation, and to take steps to stay connected to the outside world, whether by actively building relationships, or by seeking out new experiences and perspectives. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest to be overly trusting or open, but to maintain a balance between self-protection and connection with the outside world.
Law 19. Know who you're dealing with, and do not offend the wrong person.
Law 19 advises readers to be aware of the people they are interacting with, and to avoid offending or alienating those who hold power or influence. This law suggests that by offending or alienating the wrong person, one can damage their reputation, lose valuable connections, or even face serious consequences. The law advises that one should be aware of the power dynamics in any situation, and to take care to avoid offending or alienating those who hold power or influence. Additionally, it suggests to be mindful of the cultural, social, and political context of any interaction, and to be sensitive to the feelings and perspectives of others. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest to be passive, or to avoid standing up for oneself, but to be aware of the people one is interacting with, and to be mindful of the potential consequences of one's actions.
Law 20. Do not commit to anyone.
Law 20 advises readers to avoid making commitments or promises that could limit their freedom and options in the future. This law suggests that by making commitments, one can become locked into a certain course of action, which can limit their ability to adapt and respond to changing circumstances. The law advises that one should avoid making commitments unless it is absolutely necessary. Additionally, it suggests to be cautious about making promises, and to be aware of the potential consequences of committing to a particular course of action. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest to be dishonest or untrustworthy, but to be mindful of the commitments one makes and to avoid making unnecessary or limiting commitments.
Law 21. Play a sucker, to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark.
Law 21 advises readers to feign ignorance or weakness in order to manipulate others and gain an advantage. This law suggests that by appearing to be less knowledgeable or powerful than one's mark, one can gain their trust and manipulate them into making mistakes or revealing valuable information. The law advises that one should be aware of the power of appearing to be less knowledgeable or powerful, and to use it strategically. This can be done by feigning ignorance or weakness in certain situations, or by playing dumb in order to gain the trust of others. Additionally, it suggests to be aware of the potential dangers of this strategy, and to use it only when necessary. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest to be deceitful, or to deceive others, but to use the strategy of appearing to be less knowledgeable or powerful in a strategic way, and only when necessary, always being honest and respectful.
Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power.
Law 22 advises readers to use the strategy of surrendering to gain an advantage. This law suggests that by appearing to surrender, or give in, one can actually gain control of a situation and turn weakness into power. The law advises that one should be aware of the power of surrender, and to use it strategically. This can be done by appearing to give in or surrender in certain situations, while actually maintaining control and manipulating the outcome. Additionally, it suggests to use the surrender tactic to gain the trust and cooperation of others, and to create an aura of unpredictability, making one's opponents unsure of one's true intentions. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest to be dishonest or insincere, but to use the strategy of surrendering in a strategic way and only when necessary, always being honest and respectful.
Law 23. Concentrate your forces.
Law 23 advises readers to focus their resources and efforts on a single, specific goal in order to achieve maximum results. This law suggests that by spreading oneself too thin, and trying to accomplish multiple tasks at once, one can dilute their efforts and fail to achieve their goals. The law advises that one should identify the most important goal or task, and focus all resources and efforts on achieving it. Additionally, it suggests eliminating or delegating any other tasks or goals that may distract from the main objective. Doing so will give you more chances to achieve your main goal, and the results can be more significant. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest ignoring other important tasks or goals, but to prioritize and focus on the most important task or goal in order to achieve maximum results.
Law 24. Play the perfect courtier.
Law 24 advises readers to master the art of flattery and manipulation to gain favor and influence with those in power. This law suggests that by being skilled in the art of flattery and manipulation, one can gain the favor and trust of those in power, and use that favor to gain access to valuable resources and opportunities. The law advises that one should be aware of the power of flattery and manipulation, and to use it strategically. This can be done by studying the behavior and desires of those in power, and using that knowledge to flatter and manipulate them in a subtle and discreet way. Additionally, it suggests to be aware of the potential dangers of this strategy, such as becoming too reliant on the favor of those in power, and to use it only when necessary. It's important to note that this law doesn't suggest to be insincere or deceitful, but to use the strategy of flattery and manipulation in a strategic way and only when necessary, always being honest and respectful.
Final few words.
It's important to note that the book is not a self-help book, but rather a historical and philosophical meditation on the nature of power. The author does not advocate for the use of these laws in a moral or ethical way, but rather uses examples from history to illustrate the ways in which power has been used throughout history. The book is not meant to be taken as a guide for how to live one's life, but rather as a cautionary tale about the immoral use of power, and the need for integrity and caution in the pursuit of power. It is thought-provoking and informative. Have you read this book? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, if you'd like to hear a summary of the other 24 laws, please like and subscribe. Until next time.